Update. Boyfriend faked death and called my reaction manipulative. Original post. Me and my boyfriend. I'm 21 female, he's 24 male. Together for 3 years. Live apart but have/had plans to rent together soon. Everything's perfect before this. Backstory. I have a history of self-harm. I have done it since I was 11 years old. The last time I did it was 2 years ago. I have some brutal scars, but I'm doing much better and I'm in therapy. It's been a while since I even had the urge. My boyfriend had an ex before me who played mind games a lot. I feel it's relevant as he sometimes thinks I'm playing games when I'm not. For example, he was wary when we started dating that I would self-harm for attention or do it to punish him. His ex would threaten things like that if he ever left her. I don't/haven't ever done this, and despite my struggles, I'm pretty good with being patient and communicative. Until this, I considered us to have a really healthy relationship. Main story. Boyfriend went out drinking with his friends. I usually hear from him as he gets home 2 a.m.-ish to let me know he is home and safe, but I didn't hear anything last night. I figured he just forgot. No biggie. I went to bed as normal. I woke up to 11 a.m. to a bunch of missed calls from his mother. They live together. I called her back and she texted at 1 p.m. that she couldn't talk. I was kind of worried and told her as much. She said my boyfriend didn't get home last night and was in a crash and didn't make it. This was super weird to me since I get on well with his mom and would never expect to be told this via text. After some more texting, I fully believed my boyfriend had passed away that morning, and I totally shut down. The people I live with were all out that day, so I was alone. Grief set in immediately and I had an extremely bad relapse on my self-harm. At that point, I didn't even care. I was just hurting so much that my usual coping techniques just weren't doing their job. I listened to old voice notes of his and even sent one telling him how much I loved him through the most unhinged sobbing I've ever done. Well, he arrived at my house 20 minutes later saying it was a prank, since he got into a small bump and thought I'd get mad about him driving drunk, as well as about him mushing up his car a little. And him and his friends came up with this plan to just make me happy he was alright. So they took his mom's phone and the above happened. I obviously was thankful he wasn't dead. But I had a million other much stronger emotions. I was so angry he drove drunk. So angry he saw nothing wrong with it. So angry that he would lie about something so serious, and absolutely heartbroken that he let me sit in grief for over an hour until I sent a voice note that made him feel bad. Plus lots of other things I'm still struggling to articulate. He found out I harmed myself and flew off the handle. He said I punished him and turned a harmless prank into something much more serious and ruined the joke of it. He said I was guilting him for having fun, and now he can't trust I would do it again. He even suggested I stay in hospital for my mental issues for a few weeks and crank up therapy. He said he can't leave me if he wants now, or else I'll act like this, just like his ex. I am beyond hurt. I probably should look into therapy if I'm still resorting to it, I admit. But this was not an everyday bout of anxiety or even a breakup. I thought he died. I'm also very aware that his actions were massively crappy, and he is being so manipulative in the aftermath. How is it a punishment if I thought he was gone? I absolutely would not react like this if he just broke up with me, and I have never said or hinted at that. Not really sure what to do now. My gut tells me to leave him over this, but I'm so unsure. Now for the top advice before reading the update. What a sick joke. You need to break things off ASAP. What a cruel thing to do. I could never even be friends with someone who did this. The worst part is that he did it to get away from the consequences of drinking and driving. He willingly and purposely hurt you to ease the repercussions of his actions. Let that sink in. And dump him, please. He's a piece of trash. He even took his mom's phone to make it look like she was in on it. That takes it to a whole new level of cruelty. OP, I would dump him immediately and tell his mom what he did. Make sure you actually talk to her so you know she actually knows what he did. Please listen to your gut. This is beyond horrible behavior, not a harmless prank. You deserve to be with someone who has compassion and respect for you. If anything, the boyfriend needs therapy. The boyfriend is a horrible person. What he did shows deep character flaws. The drunk driving is bad enough, the more so because he knew it was wrong and chose to do it anyway. But the harmless prank? That's just mean. So disrespectful and inconsiderate, made all the more so by your personal history. And speaking of the accident, did he leave the scene of an accident while he was driving drunk? Or was he late getting home because he got a DUI? He bumped into a fence post, so luckily nobody was injured. but the potential was there as well as the carelessness. I don't know if he was late or not, honestly. I think he planned this almost immediately and not texting me all night as part of it. Now for the update. Long story short, I broke up with him for the following reasons. 1. Drunk driving, endangering himself and others. 2. Took his mother's phone and made me think it was her. Deception. 3. Telling me he was dead. Deception/extreme emotional stress. 4. Letting me think that 4 hours. I could list every negative trait for that one. Borderline sociopathic behavior. 5. Not being sorry for any of these things. Twat. 6. Telling me I'm too sensitive. Invalidation, shifting blame. 7. Being mad at me for relapsing. Unsupportive, uncaring, unkind. I still won't blame him for the relapse though, as many people here wanted me to. That is on me and I'm still going to therapy regularly for that. So, for those interested, I took a few days to myself. I did speak over the phone to his mom and she was incredibly apologetic on his behalf. I taught her how to put a passcode on her phone. After that, we met up and I outlined the things I listed above. He seemed apologetic and sincere about all of them and listened to me well. Unfortunately, he didn't quite understand that being apologetic wouldn't get me to change my mind on ending the relationship. So, his true colors came out at the end. He got annoyed at me for ending it and again told me I was dramatic and other invalidating arguments. Oh well, I said what I needed to say, and that's enough closure for me. Wow, boyfriend is such a piece of trash. What is with people who think faking a death is a prank? Especially committing to it 4 hours. With a person who has a history of harming themselves when emotions get so high. Why would you do this? This dude makes me so mad. Poor OP. I'm the type that tries to find a silver lining in everything, and I can see too here. She got rid of an unsupportive, selfish, insert bad word, guy. She also figured out a potentially powerful trigger for her to regress in self-harm, so could work on that as unfortunately death is a part of life she will have to deal with in the future. Glad she left him. What he did was unforgivable. Yep, that is a line in the sand. Absolutely no coming back from it kind of situation. I would completely change how I saw the person after that. I think anyone would. The fact that he still doesn't even get how awful what he did was. It's just the final nail, so she knows she made the right decision. But no amount of apologizing could undo what he did. I could literally never trust that person again. I could never have a fulfilling relationship because of the doubt. All down the drain. If he didn't have bad intentions and is just a moron, that's almost sadder. Part of me thinks his mom tore him a new one, assuming she knew before they talked given the post layout, and thought sorry would get him out all of his trouble. When it didn't, the anger he has from the punishments of his own actions came back up and he lashed out. Personally, I think he needs more therapy than what he's pushing OP to get. Man is unhinged. I'd 100% blame him for the relapse, especially after the zero remorse. I'd bet if she hadn't self-harmed, he'd have been griping that she didn't really love him. This guy's bad news. Next story. My husband is pushing me to agree to make my sister our surrogate using the traditional way. My husband and I have been struggling with infertility. We've tried some options, and right now we're looking into surrogacy. My sister agreed to do it, but my husband said he looked at how much time and money IVF would take, and slowly started hinting that we'd take the traditional way. I was too shocked to even say anything, but he acted like what he said was not even that big of a deal. He explained that it's just a quick way for us to have a baby and spare the money and time to use later. I'm 100% against it. That is why I'm backing down and I'm no longer comfortable with the whole surrogacy route. I can't even imagine my sister's reaction once she hears my husband's suggestion. I'm both devastated over the fact that 1, he'd even entertain sleeping with my sister just because he wants the easy way. And 2, if I ever agree despite feeling uncomfortable, then I will always carry this memory of how the baby is conceived. I refused and shut his suggestion down hard. He's now started guilting me, saying I don't trust him, then saying I'm selfish for choosing to back out when he still wants to be a dad like he expected when he married me, basically blaming me for my infertility issues. I feel so devastated, and like my body's useless and has failed me to the point where I could expect any negative comment on it, whether true or not. Emotionally and mentally. I just can't express how I feel right now. By the way, my sister is 4 years younger than me. I'm 34 years old and my husband is 37. Now for the top advice. What has your sister said? Do you think they've done it already? OP, you are not useless, but your husband is. My sister has no idea. I'm not planning on telling her because I won't let it happen. I'm not even considering his suggestion. And if he wants to keep saying that I'm the problem, then it's fine with me. I've endured so much for the past years mentally, physically, and emotionally, and now it won't be much different. Why do you want to have babies with this man? You can have babies with anyone else, but this guy is not husband or father material. First of all, I'm very sorry you are dealing with this. Nobody should ever have to feel this way. Second, I really hope and pray that you see this for what it is, and not allow him to guilt you into something you clearly do not want. I'm angry for you, because there's no way in hell that would just blow over with me personally. It's such an insensitive thing to say during such a difficult situation. I feel terrible as it is, and did not need to have to deal with this on top of everything else going on. I lost my mom a month ago and my emotions have been all over the place. I admit that I can get upset and agitated pretty easily, but his suggestion was beyond shocking. I feel like me and him just keep diving deeper into more issues that have significantly affected our marriage. I offered couples counseling, but he said no. I feel like the universe has protected you in a way. He is showing so many red flags. Gaslighting you too. Who's to say he isn't the one with the issues? It is not your fault. None of this is. I'm so sorry for your loss with your mother. I wish you the very best ahead in life, whatever you choose to do. Now for the last story. My boyfriend expects me to do majority of the housework even though I work double his hours. How do I resolve this without an argument? Background. I'm 30 female, he's 38 male. We've been together for 7 years and have lived together for 2. Throughout the 7 years we've been together, I have consistently worked full-time. He, on the other hand, is on and off with work and hasn't lasted for longer than 4 months in a job. I would say in total, he's worked perhaps 1.5 years in our relationship. The house we live in is his. It has no mortgage as his dad paid it all. We split the bills, but I would say in total I have contributed more financially if we are including socializing, holidays, groceries. One thing he has always done while being unemployed is cook for us almost daily, once a day as we do 1 meal a day, and take the trash out. He also did laundry once a week. I did dishes, bathroom, and other stuff. To be fair, it's a relatively small house, and just the 2 of us, so there's not a massive amount to do. I was really happy with this arrangement because having healthy food cooked every day took a massive mental load from my mind. I had no complaints. The issue was 6 weeks ago, he got a part-time job, 20 hours a week. And now I do the cooking 5 out of 7 days a week, plus all of the rest of the housework. The only thing he does is take the bins out once a week and do laundry once a week. I feel like on top of working full-time, it is a lot for me to do alone. The worst part is he will always pick at small, minor things I've forgotten to do or haven't done to his liking. As an example, I cleaned the whole bathroom until it was sparkling and the only thing he said after he saw it was, "You left the soap dish on the wrong side of the bath." This really hurts my feelings as I feel like I'm doing a lot for nothing. No praise, no recognition that I do all of this on top of working double his hours. Sometimes I don't feel comfortable confronting him because part of me feels ashamed about complaining about housework as a woman. Almost as if it makes me less of a woman to not be okay with this. I really feel like I'm going crazy because it doesn't even acknowledge the big difference in what we do. What's scary is, we actually have the same dynamic as my parents. My mom did all of the housework and paid all of the bills, while my dad was in and out of work his whole life. I don't want that life. Can someone advise on how I can navigate this without starting an argument? It always becomes an argument. I found this comment you wrote not too long ago. Currently in a draining relationship and having to manage his emotions like he's a toddler. I'm working, paying for majority of stuff and he can't keep a job because he's lazy and impulsive. I felt your comment so hard. Was thriving when I was single. So the housework is just the tip of the iceberg. What exactly keeps you with this loser besides inertia? He brings nothing to the table. He brings free rent. Can't see much else. So it's simply a math issue of if it's better for OP to move out, pay rent and be chore happy. Or stay put as the free housing is worth more than the extra chores. I expect she's in the same predicament as many people living in this manner, where she may not be able to cover a place like this on their own salary. If she can, she should be off this forum and packing her stuff. I expect her feet are financially glued to the place, if you get my drift. This might make me sound stupid, but I'm actually not financially glued to him. My mom lives down the road and my room is waiting for me. She would also value me contributing to that household again. I also have savings, so could put down 50% on a house deposit if I were to get into a relationship with someone willing to put in the other half. In the meantime, I would be happy living with my mom as it's a big house and we have a good relationship. I know, this makes me sound even more silly for staying. It sounds like you know the answer here. Hey, your boyfriend dropped these red flags. No, seriously, he's a douche canoe, and you need to find a new boyfriend. He sucks and is a horrible human being. Or even, I know this sounds crazy, be single for a bit. Opie hasn't been single since she was 23. Depending on if she went to college, she's been with this guy potentially her entire adult life. Opie, it's hard to imagine, but you don't have to be with someone if you don't have great reasons for why you still want to be with him. Thanks for understanding. Sometimes it's so hard to try to explain why I can't leave when we have no practical ties. I did go to college, but got with him almost immediately after. I'm very laid back and fun-loving, but he's very intense and dominating. I feel like since I was very young, he's just gotten into my head massively to the point where a lot of his ideas and thoughts have become mine. It was only when I got to around 28 that I started understanding why someone with his personality is so attracted to someone with my personality. If I'm completely honest, I know deep down what's happened here and the situation I'm in. It's just so freaking hard to entangle my psyche from him, almost like my brain is in quicksand. I think the first step would be confiding in someone close to me because I've never done that. Ashamed and embarrassed.